And boy, do we know there's an evolution going on. Because the consciousness of law has certainly gone past reason, hasn't it? It really has. Just one little simple example. There are 16 million laws on the books. And you are personally responsible for knowing every single one of them. Ignorance is no defense. Unless you happen to be a lawyer. They're absolved from that. Which is beyond reason. But there's lots more we can go into, but that's another lecture. Planetary consciousness started 1755 AD, which happens to be the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. And this whole cycle was all about the production and the consolidation of power. Power. For the last 200 some odd years, all of consciousness throughout our whole galaxy has been aimed at power. Have you noticed that there's a lot of power in few hands? Have you been upset about that? I have. I have been since the 70s, or 60s, 67, 68, right in there. I've been personally very upset that most of the power sat in very few people's hands and the rest of us are just sucking it. Until I came across this information and I went, oh my goodness. This is not my fault, it's not their fault. All of creation is doing this. The WTO is just a, you know what the WTO is, the World Trade Organization, is only a further manifestation of consciousness to consolidate power, to bring it into focus. And we've been doing that. Now, the people who are up there in the charge of all this, they don't know they're working on behalf of consciousness. They think they want a bigger bank account. But in fact, they are. And when you go through the details of this, through all of our history here, all the horrible things that people have done to one another and back and forth, it all turns out that they were doing things specifically on schedule. Genghis Khan, for instance, his whole adventure was to open the consciousness of East to the West. He put it together. All of that action was just to bring that about. And specifically, right on schedule. Galactic consciousness, we started January 5th, 1999. This is the most recent beginning. And this consciousness cycle is all about developing and dispensing the consciousness of ethics. Now, ethics and morals are two different things, so I want to make sure we got that straight. Ethics comes from inside your heart and shine out into the world. It's your own innate ability or consciousness of what's right and wrong. Morals, on the other hand, morals are reasons. There's a moral for why you tell the story, right? That's the reason you told the story. Morals are the rules or regulations that are handed down through cultures on what's appropriate, what's inappropriate in that culture. Completely different than ethics. Morals come from outside and are laid on you, like a blanket. Ethics shines from inside you out into the world. A good example of that, or a bad example of that, is that we are, America, is totally morally justified to be over in Iraq, doing everything that they're doing. They are morally justified. But they don't have an ethical stick to stand on. There's a big difference between the two. What this whole consciousness cycle is ethics. That coming forward in each person. Ethics and integrity are the issue of the day, aren't they? I don't mean just in corporations and in nations and in religions, but even in your own lives. I mean, your own relationships. It's coming down to integrity and ethics. That's because consciousness, because everything is moving in that direction. We see what looks like a whole lot of trouble in the world, don't we? Don't we? Yeah. Okay, I mean, I know you don't want to look any more than I do at what's going on out there. It looks ugly. But specifically what's going on is a wrestling match between the consciousness of ethics and the consciousness of power. In each one of these levels, the new consciousness coming in has dominated the old consciousness on the fourth day. During and just after the fourth day of every one of these cycles, the new consciousness dominates the old. Where we are right now is the beginning, is right here in the fourth day. We're right at that pivot point. It looks like this. Here is all of the consciousness up to power, sitting right there. And here comes the consciousness of ethics. And it comes like this. And it looms over power, and it gets to the middle point, and it goes, bud, like that. And we have the historical record that it happened again and again and again, every time on the fourth day. Here we are again. The last time we were in the fourth day was 1873 to 1893. And that's when power overcame law. It happened actually in a court decision that corporations were granted all of the rights of individuals. And at the same time, all of you wonderful natural-born individuals were assigned corporate status. That's your name in all capital letters. Oh, you guys are starting to learn a lot more about that, I know. Power overcame law. Corporate rule overcame government by the people for the people. Not just in this country, but everywhere. Notice, you can't have ethics unless you have some power first. If you're running for your life, ethics is one of the last considerations you're going to have. But when you can at least hold your own ground, then you can start establishing your personal integrity and presenting ethics. Consciousness had to provide the power first before the finer tuning or steering could come into effect, the ethics. And that's what we're in right now. Now there is another cycle, the last cycle of this Mayan calendar. It's called the Universal Consciousness Cycle. It begins February 10th, 2011. And this whole consciousness cycle is conscious co-creation. Conscious co-creation. That's what this evolution has been all about. Is us rejoining creation as knowing creators. We've had a lapse of our memory for whatever reason or whatever. I think it's been all part of a very elaborate and entertaining game. Myself, one that's taken quite a few million years, if not a billion years, to work our way up and out of the whole problem. This conscious co-creation is why we're here. I mean, it's obvious that we're co-creating this experience, isn't it? I mean, if you weren't here, ma'am, this event wouldn't be happening. It'd be different. So we are co-creating this experience. If I wasn't here, this wouldn't be happening at all. So we're co-creating, and we've been doing that with everyone in every situation all of our lives. Just not as consciously as we could we wish.